Hey gamers, I am John, host of Video Games in the World, and today's topic is retro gaming versus modern gaming. Some people say that modern games are better because of graphics, but are modern games truly better because only of graphics? Sure, they look awesome with advanced graphics and more realistic as well, but games are more than just graphics. What makes them cool is the awesome and well-written storylines with powerful moments that can make you cry and blow your mind. Characters voiced and modeled after the voice actors that voice them, and also characters that represent certain demographics, and also how you can relate to them, not just in your outward appearance, but also certain things you share with that character. Online multiplayer as well, where you can play with friends and also with people from around the world. Another thing about modern gaming that people love is the live streams. Yeah, people want to stream their gameplay live in hopes of making a career out of it. Graphics are not the only thing that make games unique. What makes them awesome is story, music, voice acting, and also gameplay. Like I said, some modern games, however, are not so good and are pretty bad, much like retro games that were good and others were really bad. Indeed. For every pro that modern gaming has, it also has its cons, just like retro gaming has its pros and cons. For example, in online multiplayer games, there have been bullying incidents, death threats, harassment in various forms. It's shown mostly in FPS games like Call of Duty, Apex Legends, Fortnite, and so on. Other cons are the microtransactions. I hate microtransactions because you need to purchase certain things in order to use them in the game. Ay, Dios mío, qué vaina. My other cons about modern gaming is that original artworks had to be changed because someone cries like a child because the look of that character hurt their feelings. Wah wah. Another thing that bothered me is that some people would threaten voice actors over a character. Remember the Laura Bailey incident? That totally pissed me off. Not cool, man. Not cool. At all. Some games have potential, but then they were shown to be a waste either because they were too overhyped or because they messed up at the last minute. Still, many modern games are pretty neat, such as The Last of Us, Heavy Rain, Skyrim, Red Dead Redemption 2, Breath of the Wild, Assassin's Creed series, Uncharted series, Mass Effect, the old trilogy, of course, and remakes of various classics such as the Resident Evil 2 remake. Resident Evil 3 remake, however, could have done much better. Some remakes didn't live up to the spirit of the original games, to be honest. Now, what makes retro gaming superior in some ways to modern gaming? Number one, the cheat codes. Everyone remembers all their cheat codes, which at times got them infinite lives, health, and so on. For example, the Contra code, up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, start. 30 lives in Contra. Nintendo, Game Boy, the Super NES, and Game Boy Advance had the game Genie, while the N64, Sega Saturn, and PlayStation had the Game Shark. Remember the Game Shark? The cheat magazines. The magazine is still alive up until this day, but I remember the old days with this magazine. Tips and tricks. Oh my god. Great times, man. We had every type of cheat code, tricks, and even tips as well. I was introduced to it by my cousin, who's so into comics back in '96 when I was 10 years old. What glorious days when I used to play the Super NES and the Sega Genesis with friends and family members. Tips and Tricks magazine was a kick-ass magazine, right alongside Nintendo Power, GamePro, Electronic Gaming Monthly, the PSM magazine, long before Game Informer and the Xbox magazine existed as well. Playing at the arcades. Remember the times when you needed a quarter to play in the arcades? I remember these days playing not only at arcades, but also at the bowling alleys as well. Arcade games at the bowling alleys. And they're still pretty much alive today. Channel 3. Oh my God, Channel 3. Woo! There was a time when you had to turn on your TV when playing Nintendo, Sega Genesis, or the Super NES. You had to make sure that your channel was tuned to Channel 3. We retro gamers still remember all that. Then it evolved into audio video, jacks, and now we use HDMI cables, depending on the flat screen that you have that supports either audio video or HDMI. And next, the harder games. Many video games were so hard that a lot of people loathed it for their unforgivable difficulty. Games like Contra, Ninja Gaiden, Shakanda Forever Man, and many others were so hard that would have many gamers of today bowing in reverence to them. Playing at your friend's house. Going to play at your friend's house was the best days whenever you had games like Mario Kart 64, GoldenEye, Diddy Kong Racing, Mortal Kombat Trilogy, Street Fighter 2, and so on. Those days were to socialize between friends and family. We did not have to yell or curse at some random kid online like today, but there were kind of arguments and fights. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Looking back at myself, the tantrums I threw whenever I got beaten in Street Fighter, I could go back in time and slap myself in the head and say, take the loss, man. You lose, you learn. Also, what's superior about retro games? No DLC. There was a time when we did not need DLCs. Whenever a new game arrived in the old days, it had everything. And some things were unlocked either through a cheat code or the hard way by beating the game in a certain time or in a certain condition. For example, in Super Smash Bros., the original, you unlock Luigi by completing all break the targets with all 8 original characters. Captain Falcon was unlocked beating the game on any difficulty under 20 minutes. Jigglypuff by beating the game, and Ness by completing the game in normal mode with 3 lives without continuing. Oh boy. What about the GoldenEye games, huh? To unlock the Aztec stage, you had to beat the entire game in Secret Agent mode. And to unlock the Egyptian stage, you had to beat the game in 00 Agent, and it was so difficult without the body armor. Holy Christ. But still, modern games can have a certain superiority over retro games in terms of more powerful and mature storylines and awesome music, and are just like movies. Some remakes were better than the original in certain ways. Others, not so much. Well, what is your opinion? Comment, share, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that like button, everyone. I'm John of Video Games in the World. Stay safe and have a good one. Later.